The truth is finally being exposed. In what might be the most outrageous example of government corruption yet discovered, we've just learned about the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, FMCS, a so-called neutral agency that has metastasized into one of the most corrupt slush funds in America. This shocking scandal reveals everything that's wrong with the bloated federal bureaucracy that President Trump and Elon Musk are bravely fighting to dismantle. The FMCS scandal. Your tax dollars at work. The FMCS, created back in 1947 under Truman, was supposed to be an independent mediator between unions and businesses. Instead, it became a playground for entitled bureaucrats living like kings on your money. These unaccountable bureaucrats leased BMWs with government credit cards, billed taxpayers for their personal cable TV bills at multiple homes, paid for their wives' cell phones with your money, commissioned vanity paintings of themselves to hang in taxpayer-funded offices, took exotic vacations on the public dime, hired friends and relatives to keep the gravy train running. Many FMCS employees didn't even bother showing up to work, not just during COVID, but before COVID too. They had government credit cards meant to serve the public that became their personal piggy banks. This is Rome all over again, the rich getting richer while the country crumbles. This is France before the revolution, with elites drowning in luxury while the nation drowns in debt. It's Tammany Hall corruption on steroids. Doge to the rescue. Thank God President Trump signed an executive order on March 14th to abolish this corrupt agency. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, is finally exposing what countless Americans have suspected for years. Our government has been hijacked by self-serving bureaucrats who view taxpayer money as their personal ATM. The FMCS is just the tip of the iceberg. How many more slush funds are lurking in the shadows? How many more corrupt agencies are we funding with trillions in spending across thousands of agencies with millions of employees? Worst of all, how many of your tax dollars are being funneled to organizations that actively work against American interests? The manufactured resistance. Now we're seeing exactly why the left is in such a panic over Doge. New GPS data has revealed the truth about who's really protesting against Trump and Musk's efforts to clean up government. 84% of devices tracked at anti-Doge rallies had been to 9 or more Kamala Harris events. 31% had logged over 20 appearances at Antifa, BLM, pro-Hamas, and Palestinian protests. This isn't a spontaneous uprising of concerned citizens. These aren't your neighbors who just disagree on policy. These are professional activists, the same people showing up at every radical left event. Some are even torching Tesla dealerships. How could any reasonable person support such destruction? The truth is, most Democrats don't actively support this. They just tolerate it because they've been conditioned to hate Trump and Musk. Follow the money. The most damning revelation is where these professional protesters get their funding. Cross-referenced reports show these aren't individuals moved by a call to action. They're operatives with ties to socialist networks funded through non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that you have paid for. The government has been funneling billions of dollars to so-called community organizations with no deliverables, no accountability, and no transparency. This isn't charity. It's a sophisticated money laundering operation that bankrolls radical activism under the guise of social justice. The Government Accountability Office, GEEO, has confirmed that billions allocated to these organizations have ended up funding activist networks that train agitators and promote radicalism. The real reason for the hysteria. Now we understand why the left is in complete meltdown mode over Doge. It's not about democracy or freedom, it's about money. Trump and Musk are cutting off their financial lifeline. Doge threatens to dismantle the entire web of public-private partnerships and NGO slush funds that keep the radical left machine operating. That's why Musk has now replaced Trump as their primary target. It makes no sense on the surface. Musk has done more for fighting climate change than any other human on the planet, but he's now disrupting their cash flow and exposing their scam, which makes him their most dangerous enemy. The surgeon and the battering ram. Trump was the perfect battering ram, a blunt instrument who broke down the walls of the establishment. But Musk is something even more threatening to the corrupt system. He's a surgeon, precisely cutting out the infection that has been draining America's resources for decades. The entire system of government picking winners and losers has been weaponized by the establishment. The Clintons, Soros, Schumer, and their allies. They've funneled taxpayer dollars through USAID and other organizations to anyone who will play ball with their agenda. The ultimate hypocrisy. The most insidious part? These protesters claim to be fighting against the establishment when they are the establishment. They're literally being paid by the very power structure they claim to oppose. While they screech about Trump and Musk creating a dictatorship, the real totalitarianism is coming from their side. Look at Canada's Bill C-63 pushing online censorship under the pretext of hate speech. Look at the EU's Digital Services Act doing the same thing, and America's heading down the same dangerous path. The same liberals who once championed free speech and distrusted government power are now the ones demanding censorship and expanded government control over our lives. The Great Awakening! The truth is finally coming to light. We now have the receipts, literal proof that government money has been flowing to radical organizations that then mobilize protesters against the very reforms that would cut off their funding. In this case, the individuals in question are not your average concerned citizens who have come forward to demonstrate. Rather, they are the actual beneficiaries of the corrupt system that Trump and Musk are aiming to deconstruct. Because of this, they have taken part in the demonstration with the intention of expressing their opinions. From this point forward, it is feasible to assert that the boundary has been formed. People who are citizens of the United States of America, who put in a significant amount of effort, who pay their taxes, and who have the expectation that their government would serve them, are the individuals that make up the group of people who are on one side of the issue. On the other side, there is a bureaucracy that has been around for a substantial amount of time and is currently exercising a valiant attempt to maintain its powerful and privileged position. It is important that Elon Musk and President Trump stand at the vanguard of the movement to restore power to the people of the United States, since this is the proper course of action. The goal of this effort is to give the people back control of their government. In the future, we will not only be solving the problem with FMCS, but we will also be tackling other problems as well. As the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, DOGE, continues to carry out its vital functions and fulfill its responsibilities, we will have the opportunity to uncover additional instances of abuse, waste, and corruption. The water level in the swamp is beginning to decline, and the animals who have been feeding off of the money that has been given by taxpayers for decades are frantically thrashing around in an attempt to survive. The money has been the only source of sustenance for these creatures. At last, the water that was contained in the swamp is being removed. Instead of being concerned about preserving democracy, they are concerned about preserving their regular flow of revenue, which is the basis for their concerns. They are not concerned about defending democracy. Their fear stems from the fact that this is the truth. Considering that the Great Awakening has already started, it is too late to change your mind about the beliefs that you had previously established as being true. In the not-too-distant future, the days of the corrupt bureaucracy are about to come to an end, and a new era of accountability, openness, and genuine public service is about to begin. This would be a significant change from the previous era,